I interrupt this program to activate the emergency alert system. Please stay tuned for important information. And we're just now getting word that several similar objects are being sighted in the skies over North America.
Cleanse the land of all living things! Grandfather! Oh my God.
Tommy!
Jen. Grandfather.
Tommy! I can't move!
Neither can I.
Where the hell are we? What's going on? What are they gonna do to us?
I don't know, Jen. Stay calm. I'll get us out of here.
Welcome to another episode of The Greatest Generation, and today on The Greatest Generation we're going to talk about a game that I've wanted to talk about for a while. I wanted to review the new one in this series, and unfortunately if you've been following the channel you'll know that I had a lot of massive issues with it because I bought it on PC and something's wrong where it will not run on my PC. My PC's pretty current, so I don't understand why it won't run, but anyways, we're not talking about that today. Go ahead and pull it off the shelf. The game we're talking about today is the original Prey for the Xbox 360. So the original Prey is an interesting story. The game was had been in development since 1995. It kind of went through different developers. It showed up in, I would call it a launch window game for the Xbox 360. It didn't come out launch day with the Xbox 360. It was the summer after, so it was summer 2006. By summer 2006, there really weren't a lot of games to play on the system just yet. It was in the first year of the Xbox 360, so you're still getting a lot of launch titles, you know, within the launch window and everything. And for me, the only game I really played during the time was Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. So there weren't a lot of games, you know, at the time to pick and choose from. You know, there was Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter, Tomb Raider Legend. There was, at some point, there was Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle-earth 2, which was not a good version of Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle-earth 2. That's a primarily PC strategy game. But there weren't a lot of games that had come out yet, and I'd remembered reading about Prey. And the thing about Prey was I had a buddy, I had moved back to my hometown where I live now, currently still, where I had grown up, after living in suburbs of Detroit, Michigan for several years. And it was the summer, it was the first summer after I had moved back, or actually it was the second summer after I had moved back, and I didn't really have a lot going on. One of my buddies from Michigan wanted to come and visit, so I had just gotten the Xbox 360, and you know, besides Oblivion, I didn't really have a lot of games to play on the system, so we went to the video store. You know, this even going back 10 years ago, video stores were still a thing. They're pretty much dead now. It was mid-July. I believe this game came out like July 11th. So it's mid-July, and we're looking at the shelf. We looked at this game called Prey, and we both looked at it, read the back of the box, thought, this game looks really cool. And it was a hell of a good game. And it's interesting. I kind of hold a special place in it because, again, it was that first year of the Xbox 360 really was kind of a special time for the system. There wasn't a Halo yet on the Xbox 360. You could play Halo 1 or Halo 2 because it had some backwards compatibility in the system, but there wasn't a Halo yet. Gears of War hadn't even come out yet. That was their big fall title. So there wasn't really like a huge title for the Xbox 360 other than Oblivion. And there wasn't a big like franchise on the system yet, so it was still kind of in that infancy for the console. So we went out and rented Prey and blew through it in a couple days, and it's a fantastic game. It's really kind of special and unique. It's not like anything you would play today. And even like the little bit I've played of the 2017 reboot of the game, I like the original one much more. The new Prey is more psychological, and it kind of takes some of the ideas from what the original Prey did, but it's different. It's more BioShock in that terms. And when you play this Prey, the original Prey, it's a lot different it plays almost like a Doom or a Quake, but it has more of a story than Doom or Quake do. Like Doom has a story, but I mean the main character of Doom is the Doom Marine. Like that's his name. He doesn't have a name. And in Quake, I couldn't even tell you what the story of Quake is, if we're being honest. So, and Prey is an interesting one because it has a fully fledged story. So in Prey, you play as Tommy. He is a Cherokee Indian. He grew up on a reservation. He wants to get off the reservation. He hates living on the reservation. And his grandpa lives on the reservation, and his girlfriend live on this reservation. So his whole thing is he's caught up. He wants to leave the reservation, but his grandpa wants him to stay. He won't leave unless his girlfriend leaves. And his girlfriend doesn't want to leave. She wants to, stay on the reservation because that's where she grew up. Makes sense. And so the beginning of the game, your grandpa's kind of talking to you like, hey, Tommy, I want you to kind of like listen to me when I'm talking about like the old ways of things. And he's talking about, like eagle spirits and that kind of shit. And it's interesting because Tommy doesn't care about any of that. He just wants to get off the reservation. He hates the reservation. So the game opens in a bar. And your girlfriend is a bartender there, and it's just kind of a typical night. There's kind of some roughnecks in there that are kind of giving her a hard time and stuff. And you take care of it, but then what happens is you get abducted by aliens. That's what this game's about. So your grandpa, and your girlfriend get abducted. You get thrown up into this big spaceship, and that's kind of where the game opens up and becomes a shooter. What makes this game different and so appealing compared to some of the other games of this era, like Doom 3 or, whatever. I think they were on Quake 4 at that time. Or even like a Halo, or if you were a PlayStation kid, Killzone, I guess. What makes this game different is it had a different kind of gameplay style to it, where it plays more, like I said, like a Doom or a Quake, but there's different elements into it. One of the most fascinating and interesting elements in this game is the introduction to the idea of portals. Now, when everybody thinks of portals, they think of Valve's 2007 game Portal and the sequel Portal 2, which came out in 2011. The difference here between the original Portal and Prey is in this game, you're not shooting, you don't have a gun, you're not shooting the portals out on walls and stuff. They're stationary, and you kind of crawl through these boxes and stuff, but it warps you into different parts of the spaceship that you're trapped on. The other thing that's cool about it is there's all these sorts of like gravity lift things. So basically, like, there'll be a strip, and I'll show it in the video, where like you can almost even go upside down or walk straight up walls and stuff. It's really fascinating, really interesting, and it creates a huge dynamic in this game that's not something you see. One of my favorite parts is you'll be walking on this thing and looking down, but you're looking up in the game. You are looking down at the people that are on the ground, but because of the way gravity is shifted, you're on this gravity pad upside down shooting at people below you, but that they're actually above you. It's really cool and really interesting, and no other games really did this kind of thing. At the time that this game came out, this was a very unique situation where nothing else really was doing this. And then the next year Portal came out. Nobody talked about Prey. Everybody praises up Portal, but I think Prey did it better, and it was much more interesting. It also has kind of a robust multiplayer mode, and this was a standard practice in the mid to late 2000s with pretty much every shooter game that came out. They always felt they needed to tack on a multiplayer mode. And honestly, in Prey, like, the multiplayer mode is fine. It just plays like a Doom or a Quake, but it has some of the gravity lift stuff in it and the portals, and that makes it interesting. It makes it a little more unique than some of the other games maybe you'll play from this. It's really fascinating stuff. I really like it. It does not hold up, and that's the one major thing I will say about it, going back and capturing footage of it for this video. Unfortunately, Prey does not hold up. It has a lot of screen tearing. It is definitely a game from a different era. Graphically, it doesn't hold up. It definitely looks like an early Xbox 360 game because that's what it is. It was a launch window game, so it's not going to be the prettiest looking game, but I think it also holds up well in other regards. Again, the Portal gameplay and the gravity lift stuff, really fascinating, still holds up, and again, No other game, you know, from this time is really taking advantage of that. It's really odd that this game came out and then silence, like nothing else. And we'll get to that in a later part of this video about, you know, why this series lay dormant for 11 years. It's an early Xbox 360 game. It was a first-person shooter. It grabbed my attention. You know, me and my buddy from Michigan, we played through it in a couple days, and we had a blast. If there's one other thing that I want to say that strongly recommend about this game that's really cool, and it happens really early on in the game, is there's a part of the game where you walk in this room, and there's a globe in a box. And you look at that and you're like, hey, cool, whatever. And then on the floor next to it, there's a portal. So what happens is you crawl through the portal, and then the next thing, you're in that box on that globe, shrunk down, kind of like a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids type of thing. And, you know, an enemy walks in and looks at you, and you realize, like, oh shit, that thing's really huge and I'm small. And then you realize, oh wait, I'm in that box. And they start coming through the portals and fighting you. It's really cool, really fascinating. No other game really did anything like that, and that's kind of disappointing. But that stuff's really cool. I really like it. So I guess to wrap things up, the original Prey is a fascinating game. And it's a game that doesn't really get the attention that it deserves. And nobody really talks about it anymore. And it's interesting because, like, it came out, it was mildly successful. It sold well enough that they started working on a sequel. And Human Head Studios had worked on a highly ambitious sequel, which was called Prey 2. And if you know anything about the channel, you know I still have a keychain on my car keys of Prey 2. Like, this game was really far in development, and it was going to be different. Instead of this game, you were going to play as a bounty hunter, and you were going to be hunting down the aliens in space. It was going to be more open world and more open-ended than the original Prey. Unfortunately, what happened is it just kind of, a lot of studio problems and, you know, corporate buyouts and stuff, and that all, you know, unfortunately it didn't work the way that it wanted to, and that license, you know, lay dormant for a while, and then Bethesda picked it up and gave it to Arcane Studios, and they made Prey 2017. You should pick up the original Prey. This is a fantastic game. You can get it super cheap at your local game store if they have a copy, and I can't stress enough, if they have a copy of this game, because unfortunately in today's day and age, this game is starting to disappear. It's not something you just walk into a GameStop and find a copy of it laying around. It's kind of hard to track down. They did make the game for PC as well. It's even harder to track down a copy of it there. They never made it available digitally, so it's only a physical thing. You can probably find it on eBay. When I was looking, I think I saw it at like maybe 20-25 bucks. But it's hard to find, man. But if you find it, it's very inexpensive. It's not very expensive at all. So anyways, guys, hope you liked it. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And anyways, until next time.